Hello everyone, this is Steph the Jeweler coming at you from my basement studio for another episode of Passing the Torch, a pro jeweler teaches. We are continuing on our journey with the sterling silver floral brooch. It'll have tourmaline set in it. Here is the design that I've been showing all along. This is kind of the composition that we're working on. We're doing assembly right now. We've cut out all our pieces. We've been assembling and soldering things together, as you can see here. We've made little flowers. We've soldered heads on them for our gemstones. You can see there, we've done a lot of the prep work already. The assembly of our leaves, and we did it all in the previous video, so you'll have to check it out. Again, what I'm doing right now is all just for your entertainment. This isn't necessarily instruction. I don't think you should do this on your own until you've been properly instructed on how to use the torch, how to use the flammable liquids, and safety is key in this business. So I hope to do classes and other instructional videos, so check out all my stuff. Subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be doing lots and lots of videos of me working, and it's usually on customer pieces. I'm a 30-year jeweler, and I decided it's time for me to pass the torch and start sharing some of my experience and knowledge with you guys. So retail jeweler, this is a sterling silver piece, but I work on gold, diamonds as well. So there's always something cool and exciting I'm working on, either making or repairing. So keep checking back with me, okay? So we've done a lot of this assembly in the previous video. Now we're on the second step to our assembly of the brooch, and that will be able to be worn as a pendant as well. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to keep going. So we've made our little rosebud, started it. We gave it a little bit of form just to start with. Got a little curvature on it, but the rest of it's flat. We're going to do all the shaping and stuff as we go. So what I want to do now is start attaching the flowers, the leaves, everything to this piece. Okay, and then once we have that assembled, we'll put these little heads on there. These little heads will hold a couple little CZs for a little white sparkle. Again, this is taken off of a piece from the monarchy. This is a royal piece, the original brooch, and we're just using the composition. The customer liked that a lot. We're using Tourmaline Sterling Silver and a couple little CZs just for some white sparkle. Okay, so now we're going to use our flex shaft. And what I want to do is where the flowers are going to attach, I am going to grind down just a little to get to the new metal there, because we got a little fire scale on there, but not enough to put in the pickle. So we just started to be sure that we have to have a clean area for the solder to flow and stick to. So just be sure my little ends are good. And I'm going to put that little branch over here, so I want to be sure that's got nice clean metal as well. Okay, so next I think what I'm going to do is attach, I think I'll attach the bigger pieces first, because they won't melt off as quickly. What you have to do is do things in stages, and I use hard solder and soft solder, easy solder. I'm going to turn this a little so you guys can see a little better. Okay. So what we have to do is attach things in bits so that they won't fall apart as we heat up to attach more and more pieces in at the end, the brooch backs, things like that. As you can see, I'm going to bend that up so the flower will actually, this is obviously not anatomically correct or whatever, but I want it to have a little volume, like it's standing up off of the branch instead of just being flat. Okay, so and then I'll do this one as well. Here we go. And this guy will be over here like that. And once they're attached, I'll bend them and shape them to make it look like the brooch. Okay, but it's a good start. Uh-oh, looks like this is breaking off. Maybe it wasn't such a great solder. So we'll be sure to go back over this solder seam and then attach that flower. That'll probably we should do that first. Okay, so what we're going to do, as you remember from the last video, is we're going to coat these pieces with more boric acid and denatured alcohol. And what that does is protect them from the fire scale, the black scale that gets on our pieces when we heat them. We want to do both sides, so I'm going to flip these guys over. Do it on the back side as well. This, I think, went around, but we're keep going. The fire scale, if you let it get too much, it actually stains the metal, and it takes quite a bit of sanding to get rid of the red markings on there. So we try to protect it as much as we can. We'll give it just a second to evaporate a little bit. We're going to go ahead and light our torch, and if you remember from the last one, I have to use a manual striker here. It's got a flint, it makes a spark. I have an automatic one at work that I love. At home, this is what I use. I should just get one for the house. I just don't think about it. Okay, so we turn on the propane just a little bit, make our spark. Whoop, got it going. Okay, so then I'm going to add a lot more propane, and then I'm going to add some oxygen, and that oxygen brings it down to a nice hot flame. So I need to add a little bit more of the gas to it, a little more oxygen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these lights down so you can see the fire. I don't know that there's much alcohol left, but it's burning it off, and it leaves a nice powdery coating on it. And if you can see on this flower, you see it's got a nice powdery white coating, and what that does is it protects the metal. It helps reduce fire scale. And then we use flux as well. And the flux is like a liquid glass. That's what this container is. If it's your first time with us, you'll have to look back through all the other videos of us making this project. The flux is liquid glass, so when it heats, it makes a nice smooth surface and also keeps fire scale from forming. And then when it's done, we put it into the pickle, which is this guy, which is like a liquid acid that eats off the fire scale when you're done with the solder. Okay, so as we saw, we had one seam that seemed to be a little weak over here. So I'm going to put that up on the fire block, and it may fall apart. If it does, we'll just reattach. But this is the culprit right here. It seems to have a weak joint there. When I tried to bend it, it kind of wanted to crack a little. You don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to put a little flux on that spot, and I'm going to put a little on the other solder joints too, just to protect it from further fire scale. And I used a hard solder. If you remember, we use sheet solder because I like to be able to control how much we use. Over here, I have a couple little pieces of hard left, so I'm going to go ahead and flow it again on that seam. I'm going to make this a little bit hotter, bring it down a little more. A nice blue flame is a nice hot flame. If it turns red, we don't want that. It causes more fire scale when it's red. Okay, so as you can see, this is the joint. Can you see where I'm working? I'll get this out of the way. So this is the joint. Oh, I just dropped my solder. Where'd it go? Go in there. No, I'll just get another piece. Okay. All right. Now I have the solders at the end of my tweezers here. All right. So I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to place that solder at the joint. There it is. Now with silver, you have to heat basically the whole area to get one to flow. So this joint might break, this joint might break. We're going to try to use our torch control to hopefully make it so that it does not break or fall. I'm going to hold this branch because that's one we're working on, just in case it wants to collapse. Let's see if we can make this work without everything falling apart. If it does, it does. Yep. All right, so we're going to have to rejoin here. Okay. This one kind of did its own thing. Well, let's make that stand up a little bit again. All right. I'm going to just reattach it totally here. We want everything to be nice and secure. I'm using the solder that was already there. See? All right, we got it put back together. There's just not about anything that I can't fix. And this is one that we're constructing ourselves, so that makes it even easier because we know how it goes together. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to start adding the flowers, the bigger flowers to the piece. And I'm kind of trying to want to see which way I want it to go. I want the 2 petals at the bottom of this construction, I think. So what I'll do is take that off. We'll flip this over. The reason we're using a charcoal block is, if you remember, it radiates heat back up onto the piece because silver has to be basically all heated before one spot will flow. And if it's not, it won't go. So we want it to go, so we want to control the heat. I'm adding more flux to these ends because I'm going to attach those other flowers. And right now, I'm going to still use hard solder. I'm trying to decide which, yeah, and at least for this guy. I may have to use easy for the others because we're getting kind of complicated in our attaching now. All right, so I put a little flux on. Oops, I lost my piece. There we go. Come back here. Okay. We're kind of getting a little complicated with our assembly now. So we may have to start using our easy solder here shortly. Okay, so anyway, here we go. We're going to heat that up, and that's going to go about here. So what I want to do is we're going to actually melt solder onto the onto the flower petal here. All right, so I'm going to put, I want it about here. Maybe down a little. All right, and then I will get this ready so that when everything is hot, it should go on just perfectly for us, right where we want it. And I'm getting the petal hot first because this wire will be hot by association because it's smaller. You see, look at that, isn't that cool? Okay, now I'm going to do this petal, and I think I want the 2 facing up on this one. See, I'm going to do it like that, I think, on this guy. All right, so I'm going to turn it. Now, we have these little heads assembled using hard on this piece. If you can see, they've got little heads that are going to have gemstones in it. I think what I want to do is use easy on this guy because I don't want these little heads to move or fall off. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to do. I want the 2 facing up, I think, on this one. No, we want okay, we also look at the way that the stones are placed. And I think we want the single stone facing up. I think that'll look nicer cosmetically. So we want to put the clip away from where we want to solder because it draws heat away. We don't want that. So I'm kind of got it at the farthest area because what I'm going to do is put it right about, probably about here. Okay, so we're going to put some flux on the petal where we want it. Put some flux on the end, which I did earlier. Okay, so that's going to be there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some easy solder and flow it at the end of this really quickly at the end of this stem. And see, I don't need a big piece. I don't need a very big piece. See? Well, I'm going to attach it to the end of the stem, and it'll flow easier than all the hard solder has been, which is our point. That's why it's called easy. There we go. All right, now it's on there. And I'm looking at my flower. Maybe I'll hold it up here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this guy where I want it. And I'm going to heat the flower first. It's wiggling around on me. Here we go. And then the stem kind of gets hot by association. You heat the biggest area first. Here it goes. I'll hold it in place while it cools off. It needs a little more. Okay, so look, our piece is coming together, you guys. See, we're getting there little by little. So the last thing I need to do right this second is to add this other stem. And I think I wanted it coming off the back. Let's look. So if we're holding the brooch, let's see, we're making this our own. You know, we had a composition that we started with, but we're trying to make this our own. So let's see how it looks from what we've made. I think we do. We want it to come up off of here, and it'll be behind that guy. So what we need to do is attach it, I guess, to the back over here. Now it is on the same flower stem of the easy that we just added. So I am concerned about that. We may have to add that later once we pickle it, but let's give it a try. Let's see if we can take this stem off the back here. As you can see, hopefully this one will hold its shape. We're heating it up. We're going to be down a little bit, so maybe it'll work okay. Put some flux at the end of both of these guys. See, to keep it nice and clean. I think that's nice front, so we'll have that be the front. I want to add this kind of right off the back here. And we're going to move things around, make them look organic. No, I think it'll be fine. I'm using a little solder here. You see I grabbed a piece at the end there? Well, I'm going to kind of melt it on. I think I want a little bigger piece to be sure it sticks. There we go. Melt it just a little onto the end here. There we go. And we assembled these leaves with hard as well, so we need to use easy to keep these leaves from falling off. It'll melt at a lower point. All right, at a lower melting point. That's good. And see, we have plenty of room here to put our brooch findings on when it comes time for that. Okay, so I think I want it to have some lift. You see my placement here? Can you see? There we go. Well, I think I want to get how I want my hand placed. I think like that. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can keep it from falling apart. If it does, we'll put it back together again. But let's see if we can get this guy to attach. I'll be sure I've got a good angle. Got to get everything hot for one piece to go. The whole area's got to be hot. There it went. Hot dog. Oh, look at that. We got it on, you guys. So excited. Look at that. It looks cool, right? You see that? Okay, so let's look at it. Now we need to put the bud on. If you remember, right down here, we're going to have a bud. You know what? I think I put that leaf on the wrong side. I wanted it to go this way, not that way. Silly me. Well, I am actually going to take that guy off and put him on the other side. That's right, I forgot. Okay, so let's bend. Not that I don't like it there, quite frankly, but no. We want to keep our design. So what I need to do is bend this other flower out of the way a little bit. And we want it to go that way. All right, so I'm going to take this stem and bend it forward now. Sorry, I'm out of your line of sight. I'm going to bend this flower forward. See how I did that? Can you see where we're at? All right. I bent it forward so that I can access the stem and back to solder onto. So I'm going to take this guy and move it from here to here. I did it backwards by mistake, so that happens. It's a work in progress. Also, you can add something on, and if you don't like it, you can change it. That's the beauty of art. And technically, this is art. So, all right, so I'm going to put some flux on the other side. I'm just going to pick them up, and I'm going to turn them onto the other side. I hope it is visible for you, okay? So I'm going to heat it where it opens that seam again, lets it go. Just a second, I get it out again. I just had it backwards because I had it flipped over. There we go. I'm going to get a little more solder since I had some of it flow onto the piece. Okay, there we go. And I think this is what I wanted to be the front. So get that where we want it. Okay, I want it on this side, silly girl. All right, here we go. So I'm going to attach it because I can bend it the way I want it. I just want to attach it basically perpendicular to the stem will be the best way to attach it for the best solder joint. So here we go again. Trying to keep the flame away from those flowers because I think, oh my, look at my leaves bent, darn it. And because those are hard, that means I got it a little too hot because we're doing so many applications here. Well, let me go ahead and flatten those out real quick. I'm going to heat it up so they flatten out because they're just a little, we're going to bend it, but we want to bend it intentionally, not because of an error. So let's get those guys flat again. Okay, 1, 2. I want that to go up a little more, so we'll make it so he moves up a little. All right, now let's try that again. We're just getting it too hot, trying to solder it on there. Because easy should flow, obviously, much easier. Let's give it a little more flux. There we go. I think there's plenty of solder, but maybe I should add a little more solder so that we don't have to get it so hot. All right, let's try this again. And I don't want to hit the leaves either. It's kind of a precarious area that we're soldering in. We need to get it hot, but not so hot the whole thing falls apart. I think we're almost there. Yay. Got it. Okay, see, you can always fix stuff. Never fear. So let's see what it looks like now. We're getting there. See, we got all sorts of stuff going on. We're going to bend things around, make them where we want them. Okay, next we have to put the bud on this branch. Now, it was soldered on with hard. I think we're getting to the point where we need our second arm here. This guy's going to hold it in place for us and hope we can't get the heat over there or the tension will make it break. So we don't want to do that. Okay, do I need to push it back a little so you guys can see? Now we're working very forward, but we're doing our best for this video. I had said previously I'm going to get better equipment. I'm just starting my YouTube journey and I'm seeing what I need. So we will try to make our camera angles and our close-ups much better moving forward. You can just bear with me while we're getting started. There's still a lot of good content here. A lot to learn from me. I try anyway. Okay, so this guy, I think, my little stem, my little bud. Okay, we're gonna put him on there and bend it over too. I wonder, we'll do it that way and then bend it forward. Okay, and we put them all together with hard solder, so hopefully we'll be able to put it on with easy without it falling apart. We will see. We will see. Okay, so let's get another piece of easy here, and we will put that on the end of this stem. See if it'll get it to attach. Yep, there he goes. Okay, and so now we'll take our bud and I'm gonna put it raised a little, I don't know, I give it a little angle here. Okay, because everything will be shaped once it's assembled. Here we go, got it on there. All right, there we go again. So now, at the end, we're going to assemble our brooch parts, but we're going to wait till we get everything the way we want it so we can decide where we want the brooch findings to go on here. But now, I need to decide where I'm going to want these little CZ heads because I'm going to want a little sparkle. Let's see here. We'll want one down here for sure because we want to draw the eye to the bottom, right? So we'll have one of these little heads down here on the stem. And we want to draw the eye here, here, and here. So I'm wondering I should put one here, maybe one up here in between these two petals to get a little sparkle up here, and then to have a little sparkle over here. Maybe I'll put it in between these two petals off to the side. It'll almost look like dew on the piece. That might be fun. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we'll assemble those real quick. And then the bulk of the assembly, as far as soldering, should be close to done. See, it looked kind of complicated, but I think it's going to look cool. And we're going to use easy once again for this part. Then we're going to put it in the pickle. It is 6 in the morning. I need to get ready for work, take a shower and all that stuff. Believe it or not, I've already taken my son to work in between these two videos. And so now it's time for me to get ready. But what we'll do is finish this assembly and then we will go to the retail studio to work on this some more today. Okay, because I'd love to knock it out and get it done, and we're getting close. Okay, so here we go. We're going to add these little heads that we will do some CZ setting in for a little sparkle. So I don't know if you can see these little guys, these little heads. I don't want to lose it. Let me grab it on here. They're little, but they're cute. And there'll be little 3mm CZs in there. So this, we're assembling from the back. So what we want to do is we want to take these little heads and put them on upside down, basically. So they'll face up with and we want it facing the correct way. So we have to be careful with our soldering and put it on in such a manner that we won't take the whole thing apart, but we won't melt this little head either. It's all about torch control, okay? So first we're going to heat it up a little bit and put our flux on the stem. We're going to heat up our head just a little, some flux on the head. We're going to put our solder on the stem. We're going to start assembly that way. So I'm going to take my little piece of solder. We're going to heat the stem up and we're going to put this piece of solder, it's moving around. We're going to put it in place. Hopefully the other stems won't break on us. We will see. There we go. We got it on there. Again, if the stems break, that's okay. We will fix them. So we're going to turn this head upside down and put the part that has the flux on it, which will be white, against the stem. And what we'll do is we'll heat the stem. We heat the biggest part first. If we heat the small part, it's just going to melt. Okay? And sometimes the heads do or the prongs melt. We just get another one or we fix it. Okay? There's no big catastrophe here. All right? So since there's already solder in place, I'm going to heat the stem. And I'll have the head close by. And it's getting hot on its own just by being near. Now I'm going to touch the two and the solder is melted and boom, there it is. It's like, whoop, there it is. See how it's attached? Whoops, I drop it. My hands fall asleep sometimes. See, so it's on the stem. I'm wondering if I don't want it to bend down just a little more. Well, I'm going to put it back into the clip here because I want the stone to face up top. That's how to get the best sparkle out of the stones. We want it facing the right way. So I'm going to bend it down just a little bit so that the stone will have, there we go, I want it this way. There we go. We want it facing in the right direction. See? So if the stone is forward, you'll see the sparkle. So we'll have one here. We're going to have one here and then one little one in between each of these little petals. Okay, so then now let's do those guys. And I'm going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to put solder. Let's see if you can see here. In between here, I'm going to put a little flux. And then I will put solder in one spot. It only needs to be attached really on one side because there's such a small head. I'll probably put a piece of solder right in there. I've got to heat that up a little bit. Now I did put this on, I believe, with easy. So hopefully we will not lose this. Let's see, we will not use the petal. So what I'm going to do is be a little creative and a little forward thinking. I want to put, what's nice about charcoal is you can actually push the item into the charcoal. I'm going to unclip it for a minute. I'm going to push that head down in there and then reattach. Whoops, we got to get it facing down. And what that does is kind of holds it in place a little bit so it doesn't really fall apart, which is the goal. We don't want it to fall apart. I'm trying to get it so it holds properly. That's it's putting too much pressure on it. Let's lift it up a little. We want to make it as easy for the brooch as we can, put as least amount of stress on it. I think that's not too bad there. Okay, so I'm going to add, well, first I'm going to heat up my head just a little and put some flux on it down there. We'll do the other one as well, save time. Since we're already there, so might as well do it. Okay, and then I'm going to put on this outside edge some flux there, and then I'm going to get my solder, and I'm going to try to heat it onto this little petal, kind of towards the outside for two reasons. It's eye-catching on the outside of the petal, and also it's kind of away from this seam here. We're trying to avoid that seam so it doesn't fall apart. Flux is on that side, looks good. Let's see if we can attach it. And I want the prongs more squared off and not with it pointing out. So I got to get that kind of about where I want the head to look like when I solder it in place. And here I go. I'm going to heat this petal up. And because this head is so small, it will get hot on its own. And the solder, and it did, suck right onto the head. So I will show you this one. We didn't lose anything. Can you see from the back? You see where that head attached, which is nice. See it from the front. So now we've got 1, 2, and we're going to put another one right over here on this edge. I think that'll look cute. Right over there. Or maybe we should put it out here. That'll draw our eye out here. Okay. We're almost done, you guys. It's been a journey. We're getting there. Okay, so no, we already did that one, so we want it on this one. Okay, let's turn this guy around. This is where we want it. I don't know if you can see. We want it right in between these two petals here. So I think I'm going to, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to get it so it's all worked out to be where I want it. I'm going to try to control the heat. I'm going to try to pull heat away from this seam by using the clip here. That way this seam won't flow, hopefully. I guess we can support it like we did with the other bud. No, I don't know. It's kind of hard to do the way this is done. So I guess what we'll do is we'll take our chances and just hope that if we keep the solder right to the outside, I need to push it back so you guys can see it. Sorry. Keep getting it closer and closer to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the flux right there on the outside. I think right here is where we're going to solder that piece. I'm going to put a piece of solder there. It's kind of a big piece, but that's okay. It's what I have available, and it's easy solder so that it'll melt at a little bit lower temperature and hopefully make for an easier solder. All right, we got to get the part that is covered in flux to be the part that touches the flower. So I need to turn this head to be sure that the right place is, you see how it's got white on the end of that? That's what I want. That's covered and coated, and it will protect against fire scale. So remember, we're going to heat the petal, and this little head will get hot by association because it's next to it. It should go pretty quick because we're right at the end of the petal. There it goes. Boom. And done. So now let's see what this looks like. We've got pretty much everything assembled. So why don't I sit this down for a minute? I'm going to turn off my torch. And if you remember from other videos, we turn off the oxygen first, the green one. Then we turn off the red one, the propane gas, okay? Make it, just thumb tight, because you don't want it so tight that you can't get it open again, but you do want it closed. We will also turn off our tanks, which I will do off camera. We'll turn off our propane and turn off our oxygen tanks because we will be leaving to go get ready for work. So here we go. You're seeing this in process. You can see how dirty it is, and it's kind of funny. It's got fire scale all over it, but that actually is pretty fun. Now, once it soaks in the pickle for a long time, it gets nice and clean, then we'll start shaping it, moving things around, sculpting it. I think it'll be fun and make it look like not flat flowers, but that it actually has volume. So that's pretty cool. So I hope that this has been informative and a little bit fun to watch. And it'll be fun I think it'll be a good time to see this as it continues to grow as an item. And we start setting stones and doing all sorts of cool stuff. All right, so I'm going to put it in the pickle, let it sit, and go get ready for my day. So I will see you on the next video. This has been Passing the Torch, a pro jeweler teaches. And I'm Steph the jeweler. All right, take care and talk to you soon. Bye.